Well, just when you think things can't get any fucking worse, they do. Chelsea won, Brighton and Hove Albion 2 at Stamford Bridge on Saturday. And what more can be said that hasn't already been said? Chelsea just continue to get worse upon worse upon worse every single week. We thought sacking Graham Potter was going to be certainly a step in the right direction. I can hold my hands up and say I was one of those people that said the Frank Lampard appointment kind of makes sense in a lot of avenues, you know, particularly when it comes to a squad that for the most part needs to be taught what it means to be Chelsea and to play for Chelsea. What better way to do it than bring back our greatest ever player once again, and I'll hold my hands up and say I was wrong. Frank Lampard has come in and he has only gone and made things significantly worse. Chelsea absolutely battered by Brighton, and I think the only questionable thing from Brighton's point of view is the fact that it wasn't more. Chelsea now need 11 more points between now and the end of the season in order to not make it mathematically our worst season of all time. And honestly, I named the fixtures out to you guys last week. How many points do you see Chelsea getting from those remaining games? Brentford up next. Man United fixture has got to be slotted in there somewhere. We got Bournemouth and Forest, which on paper should be easy enough wins, but let's be honest with this Chelsea team, it just won't be. The top two in Man City and Arsenal, and following that is a game against Newcastle United. Where do we see the points coming from, lads? This Chelsea team can't do anything right at the minute. And it's all well and good saying, oh, I can't wait for the season to end and start fresh next season with no European football. This isn't going anywhere. This kind of mediocrity shit isn't going anywhere from Chelsea for a long time. A Tuesday night's game against Real Madrid, for me, will be the last game that Chelsea play in the Champions League for a couple of years. Honestly, I see that being the way it's going, because you think of like the way Arsenal, you know, went out in 2017 to Bayern Munich with a bit of a whimper and will be back in the Champions League next season, but, you know, obviously went a couple of years without it. That's what's going to happen now with Chelsea, and I don't see things improving. This owner has come in, and again, I'll hold my hands up and say, Todd BOEHLY spending his money, at first I seen it as a positive. I seen it as, look, maybe look at the model maybe at Liverpool with FSG. They look very much, you know, unwilling to spend the kind of money that Liverpool want to spend and needs to spend in order to stay at the top. And you look at the Jude Bellingham deal is now broke down as a result of that, or so we're being told. That Liverpool didn't want to pay the kind of money that Dortmund wanted for Jude Bellingham, and Jude Bellingham clearly wants to go to Liverpool. And Todd BOEHLY on the other end of the spectrum is absolutely willing to spend money, 600 million of it in his first season after taking over from Roman Abramovich. But the man hasn't a fucking clue what he's doing. He's a psychopath. He's a mental head. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's got no sort of tactful trail of thought. There's no proper logical thought behind our business. It's literally just spray our millions across Europe and hope that it works, and ultimately it hasn't worked, and now we're left with a massively bloated squad pushing the boundaries of financial fair play, I think is the understatement of the evening, and leaving us now with a situation where we've got to offload a lot of players in the summer, maybe some of which we might not want to sell, like the likes of Mason Mount and players like that. We need to start making profit off our homegrown players. He might well run this club into the ground. It could happen. Genuinely, it could happen. Onto the game itself then. Frank made a lot of changes from the side that were beaten 2-0 by Real Madrid in the week, and he said after the Real Madrid game how this was going to be an opportunity for some players to come in and stake their claim for the second leg. He certainly made quite a few changes. Obviously, Benoit Badiashile came back in at centre-back. He's someone we've been calling for quite a while. Obviously can't play the Champions League anyway because he's not in our Champions League squad, because like I say, our squad is so fucking bloated. Trevor Chalobah came in at right back for Reece James, and what an awful decision that was. Oh, poor Trev, I felt really sorry for him actually. Conor Gallagher was also in from the start alongside Enzo Fernandez and Dennis Zakaria, who hasn't really played an awful lot. He got injured at Fulham back around January, I think, time, and ultimately hasn't really been able to break his way back into this Chelsea team. Up front then, you had Christian Pulisic, Raheem Sterling and Mykhailo Mudryk. Terrifying, I know. And you know what's bad? When Mudryk was the absolute best player on the pitch and he had a fine game. bang average game, still probably a 4 or 5 out of 10 if we're being honest. Incredibly, Chelsea took the lead in this game through Conor Gallagher, and of course it was the luckiest goal that you're ever going to see. Our first goal in 4 games, I believe, takes a wicked deflection on its way through. I think it was from Lewis Dunk, and even still I think Sanchez should do better with it in the Brighton goal. But up until that point, Brighton were dominating, and the passage of play within the game didn't change after that goal either. Chelsea weren't able to get any sort of foothold in the game, and the most predictable thing happened. Brighton dominated, got the equaliser through Danny Welbeck, who came on to replace the injured Evan Ferguson. I mean, hopefully he's not out for too long from an Irish perspective. We've got some very important Euro qualifiers coming up again in June. But it was a very predictable goal. Fofana and Chalobah both get out jumped at the back post. Danny Welbeck is a seasoned pro, isn't he? You know, he doesn't score an awful lot of goals these days, but even his off the ball play I thought was very, very good. I thought he linked the play really well as well, and you know, ultimately just wanted that ball more than Trevor Chalobah and Wesley Fofana. And Chelsea were lucky enough really to go in 1-1 at half time. Obviously Ferguson hit the bar just before he went off as well, and Brighton just created loads of opportunities. Matoma went through half the fucking team as if they weren't there and forced a save out of Kepa. And you know, I gave Kepa a lot of stick after the Real Madrid game during the week, but he actually kept us in this game, and he kept it from being an absolute hammering that, you know, the style of the passage of play within the game certainly would have suggested, and it would have been justified. Funny stat actually, Conor Gallagher's goal, Mikhailo Mudryk is now Chelsea's joint highest assists maker in this season, 2022-23. He has 2 assists. You have to laugh, otherwise you'll cry. I spent a lot of this game laughing me fucking head off at this Chelsea team, honest to God. Second half started, Chelsea continued to sit back, be battered by Brighton, and ultimately we're just kind of waiting to be bet and waiting for that final nail in the coffin to go in, and they did get that second goal thanks to NC. So what a strike it was. Another strike from distance on Kepa. I mean, look, I don't want to blame Kepa. Like I said, only for him. This could have been a lot uglier for Chelsea than it was, and trust me, it was ugly enough and as it was. But a brilliant strike. I mean, what a strike. I don't think many keepers in this league are going to get to that. It's a fantastic strike by Enciso, but it does probably come into a lot of players' heads that when they get the ball in that kind of position, it's fuck it, it's Kepa in goal, why not have a crack? And he certainly did, and he scored the goal of his life. I think he's only 19, another absolute gem that Brighton have managed to pull. And I think it's a sign of the times when you compare the two clubs, Chelsea and Brighton, from the way they are run, from top to bottom, from the recruitment process to the players they sign, the managers they bring in, the style of play that manager is able to get across, and the way those players absolutely will die for their manager and will play the way their manager wants to play. I heard a rumour actually that Frank Lampard, since he's come into Chelsea, hasn't even talked about really tactics or anything like that. He's basically just trying to lift the spirits of some of these Chelsea players whose understandably confidence is on the floor. So it is literally a case of no tactics, just vibes from Frank Lampard in his return as Chelsea manager. It's a fucking disgrace. And it finished 2-1. It could have been more. It arguably should have been more. And Frank Lampard is coming out in his post-match presser saying you're going to see a team come out at Stamford Bridge that really want to win on Tuesday evening. Are we? Like, are we honestly expecting to see that? I mean, I don't see anything from this Chelsea team at the moment to suggest we're going to see anything of the sort on Tuesday night when it comes to passion, a game plan, the way we're going to crunch into tackles, the way we want to try and play in order to beat Real Madrid, in order to out-coach and out-tactics one of the greatest tacticians of our fucking generation in Carlo Ancelotti. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. And what I also don't see happening is Chelsea getting any sort of wins between now and the end of the season. Like I said, apparently Todd Boehly was in the dressing room after the game. Why? What has Todd Boehly possibly have to say that's of any fucking relevance and of any beans, basically? Because the man has never, you know, managed, I say. You're not the fucking manager. He may as well put himself up front. He's that fucking hands-on. But do you really think this group of Chelsea players, they haven't listened to Thomas Tuchel, they haven't listened to Graham Potter, they haven't listened to Frank Lampard? Do you really think they're going to listen to fucking Ted Lasso coming down, a man who has never run a business in European sport, let alone a football club, let alone a football club in England with the expectations of Chelsea? It's a fucking mess, man. It's a mess, and it's only going to get worse. Todd Boehly is going to run Chelsea into the fucking ground, and oh man, it's going to be a long couple of years, lads. It's going to be a long couple of years. I don't see how this problem gets solved. Like, you bring in a Luis Enrique in the summer or a Nagelsmann. Is that going to change? You're going to have to do a big fucking offload in the squad. Like, Frank Lampard mentioned how players were coming in looking to stake their claim. No Noni Madueke in the squad. No David Datro Fofana in the squad. Kante, not even in the squad. Like, Mason Mount only come on for the last couple of minutes. Yet we're still bringing on... We're starting Pulisic. And we're still bringing on the likes of Hakim Ziyech, who, yes, I feel sorry for because he wanted to go to PSG in January and Chelsea ultimately fucked up his move. But why are we still playing him if he doesn't want to be here? Like, if there's players at this club that don't want to be here, they need to be fucked out in the summer as soon as possible. That's where we're going to wrap it up, lads. Leave a like on the video if you did enjoy. I'm just fucking deflated, man. I'm deflated with this team. They keep getting worse. Like, how can you continue to get worse when you've reached what is seemingly rock bottom? This Chelsea team are fucking built different, man. They just keep surprising me in the worst ways possible. But big week ahead on the Aaron Kelly channel with Crinklebottom's Crusaders coming out, and a goal recreations episode for the League of Ireland, so keep an eye out for that across the channel over the week. But leave a like on the video if you did enjoy. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you next time. Alright, take care.